Hello, welcome to What the Heck Does That Card Do? The show I wanted to call What the Fuck Does That Card Do? We're EDH hipster deck building motherfuckers. Okay, here's the thing, right? Commander's a great game. Magic's a great game. But I don't know about you, but I see way too many of the same cards and it bores me. Bores me shitless, that's what it does. So what the whole point of this show is to give you cards that don't do that, where you play it and your friends go, huh? I've never seen that card before. What does that do? You're welcome. Intro.
Intro. There probably isn't actually an intro at this point. There will probably be one in the future, but I have no idea.
Sorry, I'm Chris. I use they, them pronouns, and I wanted to do a punchy intro.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I just sat back and watched it.
Right. Josh, who are we talking about today? Commander-wise. Pick Commander and give you all the cards.
I'm going to let you tell everybody which commander we're talking about today, because we both have this deck. We both have this deck, but you've had it longer than me, so I'll let you take the lead on this one. Plus, I spoke way too much last time.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. The commander we're looking at today is called Ratadrabik of Urborg. Ratadrabik is a zombie. You know what I've done? I've got up all the tabs of all the cards I want to talk about, but I haven't got a tab off. It's Ratadrabik himself. Ratadrabik is a zombie warlock, I think. He's a wizard. He's a wizard, Harry. Yes, he's a zombie wizard. He costs 2 white, black. He has vigilance and ward 2. Other zombies you control have vigilance. That's great. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it's a 2/2 black zombie edition with other colors and types. I love this card. I love this card so much, and I love this deck so much. I will say, the reason I love it is not because I win with it. I very rarely win with it. I love it because it does something in Magic that I absolutely love. It screws with how the game is supposed to work. Magic has a legend rule. The legend rule says you can't have copies of legendary creatures. It also has lots of effects that say copy target creature. The reason why they've limited legendary creatures is legendary creatures tend to have abilities that don't really work if you copy them, or they start to create really weird situations, and Ratadrabik just makes a whole deck that makes weird situations, and I love that. I love that very much, and my deck is all about making the weird situations, trying to play the weirdest multiple versions of the same legendary creature over and over and over again that then have weird effects on everything else on the board. So that is what my version of this deck is all about. I have lots of cards I'd love to talk about. Sadly, because the thing about this deck is the legendary creatures, and there aren't millions of them, a lot of these cards do appear on the EDH rec page, just like these are good cards to play in Ratadrabik, and I can't say your friends will say, what the heck does that card do? They'll say, oh, it's that one. And that's a bit sad. But I'll try and find the weirder ones when I talk about cards. How about you, Josh? What did you do when you were doing this deck?
I literally just went for legendary creatures. I didn't go so much for what the most popular cards on EDH Rec are, and then just put them in. I did try to find like some of the more unique cards. There are a lot of cards that are high synergy on there and that are in the deck anyway. Yeah. Both mine and Chris's deck lists will be in the description down below. You will see how similar they are, but there are differences in certain places, mainly in the sort of like instant sorcery, enchantment, artifact sort of area is where our decks differ the most.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, he wants legendary black and white creatures. There's not, like, creatures in Magic, thousands, 10,000, 20,000, so many. Legendary black and white creatures? No, I'd say it's probably about maybe 2 or 3, if that. So the list of things you can use in here is a lot more limited. Therefore, you're not reinventing the wheel here. You're just trying to find the thing that uses Ratadrabik's bizarro effect to make the weirdest cycle, the greatest like setup for how does this deck actually. At least I am. That's
and
what
get
I
it to synergize as well is the thing, because you just have you could just chuck a bunch of random, you know, white black legendaries in there and hope for the best. It's kind of what I did.
What I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with, you will see on the EDH page, if you look at like the creatures most commonly played with this creature are a lot of creatures that have the ability to sacrifice other creatures.
Yes.
because that way you sacrifice your own legendary creature, you make a token copy of that legendary creature, the creature itself goes to your graveyard. We'll get to the next part of that, but it means you can create these token copies and fill your graveyard with legendary creatures. It's basically what the deck wants to do. There's some very popular ones that are very good. I made a list of them. I've got most of these in my deck. We've got Bartolome, Braids, Samwise the Stout-Hearted. These cards are good, and they sacrifice other things. This is good. This is what you want. I think Samwise brings things back from the graveyard, so maybe we'll get to that as well. You also have legendary creatures
it's one of the cards on my list.
Right. So legendary creatures that say, when this creature enters, return a card from your graveyard to your hand, the battlefield, whatever, mean you can, with Rat of Trabik, be killing the legendary creatures, making token copies of them, and then getting the cards out of the graveyard, back onto the board, back into your hands, you can recast them. So you could have multiple versions of the same legendary creature where the tokens aren't legendary. Legend law doesn't apply. They don't cancel each other out. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful cycling synergy. However, one of my sacrifice any card that you want cards that doesn't appear on the list, it's not there, Josh. It's mine and only mine, is Elder Arthur Maxson from the Fallout set, because no one bought the Fallout set.
Well, I mean, the Fallout set was one of the most popular Universes Beyond sets, bar Lord of the Rings, at that time.
There is a strange collocation here between the popularity of a set and how much people brew with that set. Because people will buy precons for Fallout, Final Fantasy, whatever, and these people who don't play Magic, so they'll go, well, I've got my Fallout deck now, so I'm done. Like, they don't do anything else with it. So people who tend to buy more cards and buy singles and brew and things like that tend to not to be so hot on the Universes Beyond. Why? There's sort of languishing hate occasionally, I would say. But anyway, what Elder Arthur Maxson says, 1 white-black, a legendary human Knigget. Creature tokens you control have training, and sack another creature, he gets indestructible till end of turn. Sack another creature has a colon after it, which means you can repeatedly do it, and there's no limit. In other words, if you have 5 legendary creatures on the board, you play Arthur, you can bang, 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 bang. Sack them all. All of the sacrifice effects that you'll see that are really good with this deck, that are really popular, tend to be that. Sacrifice another creature and do it as often as you want. They're not limited by mana cost, it costs mana to do it, or tapping the creature to do it. So he's very good for that. Making himself indestructible, yeah, that's fine. Cool. The other line of text on that card, which is important, is creature tokens you control have training. Hey, we spoke about it in the last deck. We're going to speak about it again in this one. This is a tokens deck.
Yeah.
You're making tokens. Therefore, anything that gives your tokens abilities is good, because it means all your tokens get more out of it. Arthur and training means whenever a creature token you control attacks another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on that token. In other words, if you have lots and lots of 2/2 zombie versions of all of your legendaries, and you attack with Arthur, who's a 4/2, they all become 3/3s. And so on. So he's great. I don't know why he's not higher up on the list. I suppose in decks where a lot of them do very similar things, he kind of falls by the wayside, but I really like him. That's my first card, Joe.
Well, my first card is probably...
To Sam. You already said Sam was on it.
No, because I'm going to pair Sam up with another card. The very first card that I'm going to say is a card that should be, realistically, in every single Rat of Trabik deck. I don't have another copy of her at the moment, so she's not in mine at the minute, but this is, and Chris will correct me if I pronounce this wrong, but it's Teysa Karlov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you're playing Rat of Trabik, play Teysa Karlov. The whole crowd goes, yep.
Yeah. I think it's one of the very few cards that is 100% in Rat of Trabik decks.
Read what she does.
Yep, she is a black, white, and 2 human advisor 2/4. Her effect is, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And again, you get 2 zombies. And again, going off of the whole tokens thing, creature tokens you control have vigilance and lifelink.
Yeah, it is the perfect marriage of a card. It means that whenever you sacrifice a legendary with Rat of Trabik, you get 2 versions of it. Those creatures also enter the battlefield, so if they have entered the battlefield or leave the battlefield effects when they die, you just keep getting them over and over and over again. It's real good.
Yeah. Really good synergistic card.
Absolutely. And that leads on to my next card. It's perfect. Thank you. Again, a card that people don't seem to know a lot about because it was in a set that no one really bought, Assassin's Creed. Or they bought it and then didn't brew with it, whatever. Layla Hassan. It's a legendary human assassin with First Strike. When Layla enters the battlefield and whenever one or more assassins you control deal combat damage to a player, return target historic card from your graveyard to your hand. So historic cards are sagas, artifacts, and legendary creatures. Mm-hmm. So let's use Teysa as an example that we just did. Why not? If I sacrifice Layla while Teysa's on the board, Layla will go to my graveyard. At which point, I will make 2 token copies of Layla, which means I can return Layla to my hands immediately.
Yeah.
Because she goes before she dies, goes, comes back. The timing works out. Which then means I can cast Layla again. I've got 3 Laylas on the board, and I've already gotten 2 creatures out of my graveyard, and now I get a third one if I sack that one. You can get an endless cycle of cards going back to your hand going so quickly. There are better recursion cards that recur things to the battlefield. They're high on EDH. You can find them. I particularly like Layla's because it's an ETB, enter the battlefield effect, because it enters, and also does it on combat too. I think that's got a name because I think it's called Titan effect. Because Titans do something when they enter and then they do it when they attack as well. Either way, what this does is it creates a marvelous loop to get all your legendaries back, so you can keep casting all your legendary spells over and over and over again, getting more and more copies of the creatures on the board, sacking them, getting more copies, and so on. So yeah. There's other cards that do similar things. I like this one, and no one plays it. You're welcome.
It's a brilliant card. I think it's a fantastic card. My next one, again, similar to what I did in our first video with Vihan, I'm going to pair 2 cards together because they both, if done correctly, provide 2 separate infinite combos for your deck.
Yes.
So the first is Boromir, Warden of the Tower.
Yep.
Boromir is a white and 2 human soldier 3/3. He has vigilance, legendary creature. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Fantastic ability.
It's generally good at
the game. Sacrifice Boromir, Warden of the Tower. That's the cost for this. Mm-hmm. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. The ring tempts you. So what you would do here is you would sacrifice Boromir. As soon as you sacrifice Boromir, you get a token copy of him through Ratadravik. Then all of your creatures gain indestructible, and the ring tempts you. The ring tempts you. The ring tempts you is a text of stuff that can happen. I think the first one is the creature becomes legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with power greater. The next one is when you attack, draw a card, discard a card. The next one is deal 3 damage. And then the last one, sacrifice.
None of those matter. None of those matter.
It's that first one that you want.
Yep.
Which is where you can make a creature legendary. So you then equip the ring tempts you to Boromir, making him legendary, which means you can then sacrifice him again to then get another Boromir token, and you can just get infinite Boromirs over and over and over again until you want to stop.
No, you don't get infinite Boromirs because Boromir is sacrificed. Oh no, it's legendary. So you do get a different token
because it becomes legendary. Yeah. So you get you get infinite counter spells against cards that are cast without spending mana, basically. And you've got infinite ways to give yourself indestructible. And it's not one of those infinite combos where it just never ends, because at any point you can say, well, when the ring tempts me, I'm just going to put it on something else, and then you end the chain there.
It's a particularly good one, Boromir. There are 2 other cards that do this. You're about to name one, and there's one other. Boromir's particularly good because you get a board of infinite Boromirs. So in Magic terms, what you would do is say, cool, I make 1,000 Boromirs. Yeah. Because it's too big. No one can stop that. If someone responds to that going, cool, I'll play a board wipe, you go, cool, I sacrifice 1. They're all indestructible. I have 999 Boromirs.
Unless that board wipe is farewell, then it's...
If it's an exile board wipe, there's nothing you can do anyway. Yeah. That's just the name of the game, but most board wipes destroy.
Yeah. And then the other infinite combo is, as Chris mentioned before, Samwise the Stoutheart, who is a 1 and white for a 2/1 halfling peasant who has flash. When Samwise the Stoutheart enters the battlefield, choose up to one target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand, then the ring tempts you.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, for this particular combo, you would need to have a sack outlet on a sacrifice card on the board in order to sacrifice your original
Sam does not
Sam.
sacrifice himself. Yes.
Yeah. So if you have a card like Arthur, like Chris mentioned before, or cards which allow you to sacrifice multiple things to destroy multiple things or whatever on the board, something like that. Sacrifice all of your creatures, make all of the Ratodravik tokens, sacrifice Sam the Stout Heart, bring a token copy of Sam out, bring one of the original creatures out of the graveyard. Make that Sam your ring bearer so it becomes legendary. Use your sack outlet to then sacrifice that Sam. Just keep doing it and get all of the cards that you've just put into your graveyard back into your hand.
You don't need to. As long as you have a sack outlet, you can sack Sam. Sam goes to the graveyard. You make a token copy of Sam. You return Sam to your hand because the timing works. You get him back. And then you can make that Sam legendary, do it again. Even if there's nothing in your graveyard, it's not contingent. There's nothing in your graveyard. As long as you've got one sack outlet, Ratodravik and Sam.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you would make Sam your legendary creature, and then you just keep sacking that Sam, and you can just get everything out of your graveyard that went there this turn.
Yeah.
So, and it's flash. So if somebody board wipes you, you can do it on their turn and get it all back into your hand.
The nasty one with Sam Stouthearted in particular is you can do it on the end step of the person right before you, because everything can attack this turn.
Yeah.
There's also Golem Patient. There's also Golem Patient Plotter. It does the same thing, but there's a slightly less obvious synergistic loop. When Golem Patient Plotter leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you, and then for a black and sack a creature, return Golem from your graveyard to your hand. Again, you can create the cycle right there because you make that Golem that leaves the token copy, you make it legendary, the cycle continues. It means you can have more creatures out, and you can get unlimited enters and leaves triggers on another creature as well, because that creature will lose and come back and leave and come back as well.
Yeah, really good.
Turns out the ring tempts you broke Ratodravik, but also there's only 3 legends that work in this. Because Faramir cares about the ring tempts, but it doesn't actually do any. I don't think it actually does something. It tries to, but I don't think it does.
I think Faramir is in my Ratodravik deck, and it's more so to give I think it's more to give it to someone else rather than give it to him. So it's
at
more
the beginning of your
more...
end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Faramir, create a 1/1 human. Yeah, it cares about ring tempting, but it doesn't actually tempt.
It's more to give that to another creature. Say you've got something like I've got in my Ratodravik deck, I've got the Witch King of Angmar in there.
Yes.
So if I make that card my ring bearer through Faramir's effects, I can then sacrifice that and have 2 of them on the board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So ring tempts you is very good with Ratodravik.
Yeah.
That's just a general thing. And they are infinite combos, so if your favorite don't like those, maybe, limit yourself.
Well, Sam's only infinite for as long as you've got creatures that have gone into your graveyard that turn.
No, because it doesn't have to. You may. It says may on it.
Yeah, but unless you've got something on the board that's pinging for damage, why would you do it infinitely?
Are you saying that you're playing this deck and you don't have a pinger on the board for if a creature enters the battlefield, do damage?
Of course you would, but I'm just saying, if you don't have that on the board, then there's no point activating the infinite loop until you've got it.
I'm not going to talk about Bartolome, but Bartolome is famously good in this deck because whenever he sacrifices a creature, he gets a 1/1 counter. So if he's the one sacrificing Sam, he gets infinitely massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you have to have a reason to do it. Yeah.
I'm going to take a leaf out of your book, Josh. I'm not going to talk about a specific card. I'm going to talk about a class of card.
Go for it.
Scryfall, which is another website that lets you look for cards, is a database that lets you look for cards. It has a wonderful feature called a tagger, Scryfall tagger, where they tag cards as having certain things in the artwork, certain abilities, which means they also sort of coalesce keywords that aren't keywords. In other words, cards that have a specific effect that is repeatable that other people do, but isn't necessarily the card, like they don't say the same text on them all the time.
Okay.
So this effect is called Cheat Death. So Cheat Death works on a very simple basis. It's a creature or an effect or an enchantment, some kind of ability that says when this creature dies, it doesn't. It comes back to the battlefield. So in a deck that likes to sacrifice its own creatures and bring them back from the graveyard, I'm going to take the spell's called Abnormal Endurance. It's the first one on the list under Cheat Death tagged and looking at only black and white colors. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains when this creature dies, prevent the battlefield tapped under its owner's control.
Yeah.
So with the draft out, if you sacrifice the creature and then put the instant on it, or do it before, it doesn't matter. The creature dies, you get a token copy, and then it comes back. So you've got 2 copies immediately.
Yeah, there's another one that I like called Undying Malice, which does pretty much the same thing.
I mean, mate, there are so many. There are
many of them.
115 cards that have cheap death effects, some of which are legendary creatures. So you can, this is one you can go to town on and have an absolute blast with. Athreos Shroudveiled is high on that list as well. He puts counters on things, when they die, they just come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm just going to talk about that effect in general. That effect in general is a really easy way to go, now I have multiple versions of the same creature. And we'll get to more of these later, but there are lots and lots of legends where there's multiple versions of that legend. It just gets progressively more heinous. Like, take Athreos right here. Great example, because in front of me, and I know it's a popular card. He's a legendary enchantment creature god, 4 white and black. He's indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, he's not a creature. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control.
Fantastic.
In other words, every legendary creature you can do 1 a turn, except if you make a zombie version of Athreos, you can do 2 a turn. And then the coin counter on the next copy of Athreos. You can keep doing it. And the more you do it and put it on the same Athreos, because tokens, if they die, vanish. You can't copy the token. You have to copy the original. If the original keeps coming back, put a counter on it, dies, comes back. Put a counter on it, dies, comes back. You're making more and more tokens that will all spread this effect across your entire board, which means whenever you sacrifice anything, as long as it's not a token, it just comes back.
Yeah.
Anything like that, where it has once a turn, beginning of your end step, at the start of the turn, when it enters, when it leaves, anything that has that effect is amazing in this deck, because it just means that anytime you're making a copy of it, you're just adding that effect on and on and on and on. So yes, cheat death effects. I've got tons in my deck, and they are great.
Allow you to just keep recycling the cards that are in your cycle through. Yeah, it's fantastic. My next one, going off of what we were just talking about, where we said about what's the point in doing an infinite combo unless you have an actual reason to do it. Yeah. This is Elis Il-Kor Sadistic Pilgrim.
Classic.
Fantastic card in this deck. Is a black and white for a 2/2 Phyrexian Core Cleric with Death Touch. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Simple. Yeah. You're constantly going to be bringing creatures in through your own sacrifice effects and bringing in tokens. You're going to be gaining life. And because they're dying as well, you're going to be pinging the board for 1 damage as well. If you've got ways to make multiple copies of this card as tokens, like through the things that we've said before, like through giving it... the ring when the ring tempts you and then sacrificing it so you can get another one, then you're just going to burn down the board really quickly.
If you can sacrifice LS, because LS doesn't trigger itself. If you sacrifice LS, nothing happens, then you get the token copy, and you can get that version back into your hand, either by using Cheat Death or whatever, recasting and sacking it again. If you've got 5 on the board, every time a creature dies, everyone loses 5 life. That adds up so quick.
Yeah. Really good card.
Speaking of things dying, this is a new ad for me because it's quite a recent card. It's called the Sib-Sig Ceremony, which is a mouthful. It is from Tarkir Dragonstorm, and it costs 3 black mana. It's a legendary enchantment. Now, this is really great for 2 reasons. 1, it says creature spells you cast cost 2 generic mana less to cast. That's just good. Like, I don't know about you, but black and white is not known for ramping. My main problem with this deck is that it can be slow. Yes. And the ability to make everything cheap, especially if you're bringing things out of your graveyard into your hand and you have to manually recast them, you'll run out of mana quickly. So this is... There's another card called Heartless Summoning, which I have in my deck. I'm not going to go into here, but it also reduces costs by 2. So I think it gives everything -1/-1 on your board, which is a drawback, but it's not a humongous drawback.
Yeah.
And... yeah, I find that makes a big difference. Anyway, whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, destroy it. then create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. So every time you cast a creature, but the token copy wasn't cast, it stays. So you get your zombie version of your legendary creature, you get a token zombie, and you get the creature in your grave, your legendary creature in your graveyard. It's kind of everything you want in this deck. It's great. I've never had any. I've always, every time I've played this, it's suddenly gone ape. It's really, really good. I really like this card.
Amazing. Yeah, that's one of the ones where when the Tarkir spoilers were coming out, Chris and I were sending them to each other, and I think we both sent each other this one at the same time and instantly just went Ratadravik underneath.
Yeah.
It's very much a snap moment.
Every time I play a creature, it dies. Who'd want that? It's a very, it's a very specific,
it's very, very specific kind of deck.
Yeah.
Well, my next card, I'm flipping back to Lord of the Rings again. This one is a slightly pricey card in both its mana value and its cost. At the moment, it is $4 in America. Over here, I think it's about £13, I think you can pick it up for. Gandalf the White. Yeah, for 2 white and 3, he is a 4/5 avatar wizard with flash. You may cast legendary spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Right. If a legendary permanent or an artifact entering or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So very much like Taser before, it's just an additional trigger. But this also works on entering. So if you've got ETB cards, it enters the battlefield cards, as well as cards that trigger when they die, you're going to get them both. So Ellis, who I mentioned before, you'll get both of her effects triggered twice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's kind of doing what Taser does, which is great. It's also adding the enters effects and giving everything flash. It's so good. Like the ability to give everything flash. You wouldn't think it was amazing, but the ability to suddenly play a defender when no one thinks you've got one, the ability to play cards on the player before you use end steps or you're effectively pseudo haste. These are classically good reasons to play anything with Flash. Flash is a great ability, so there's a reason why it costs £13 and I would never buy it. But I can appreciate that others may have more. Well, no, it's not more money, it's less sense.
Yeah, if you've got, like Chris said, if you've got ways to cheat, for your characters to cheat death, sacrifice this to bring a zombie version of it in and then instantly bring this one back, you've then got 2 trigger effects on the board.
I think they're replacement effects, aren't they? Whenever.
If a legendary permanent or an artifact entrant or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Oh, yeah.
So additional time.
Yeah,
so additional time, so it would be twice more. So if you got 2 Gandalfs, it would be 3 times.
Yeah.
That's right. It gets very confusing with replacement over if it's a replacement effect. This is why some of these don't work. Is some of them, if they're replacement effect, it just replaces it once. It doesn't replace it twice. It just replaces the effect.
Yeah, that's my one.
Cool. I mentioned a card that does a similar thing in the last one, which is Toby, Beastly Befriender. And I'm going to keep banging on about Toby. Toby's a legend. Toby's my favorite little boy. He enters, makes a 4/4 white beast creature token. This creature can attack or block alone. As long as you control 4 or more creature tokens control have flying. This is a good card, and it works really well in this. It's also tokens. If you want something a bit more thematic, maybe, On Wings of Gold is an enchantment. Creatures you control that are zombies and or tokens get +1/+1 and have flying. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 white zombie creature token. Bigger board, give them flying.
Fantastic card. Solid card.
I will say that just Toby's a fucking legend. He's a legendary creature, which means you sack him, he comes back in, and you make another 4/4. Then you replay him, and you make another 4/4. They all have flying.
Wow!
You've got to play Toby more.
I need to get one. I'm actually moving. I'm actually moving into my guilty pleasures a little early. I realised I only had 4 cards prepared, but one of these cards is so good, but I also understand why it's not higher up on the percentages list, because it has a type, or it has a keyword that is completely useless in one-on-one games. This is Blade of Selves. This is an artifact equipment that costs 2 and equips for 4. It says equipped creature has Myriad. Whenever it attacks, for each opponent other than the defending player, you may create a token copy that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. So you equip that to any of your legendary creatures that you want to attack with while Ratadravik is out and attack with them. You will make a token copy of each creature that is tapped and attacking your opponents, other than the initial opponent that you attacked with that creature. However, because of the legend rule, you can only have one copy of that creature on the board at a time. So you have to sacrifice all of the other ones. But because they are legendary tokens, Ratadravik sees that and then goes, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to make token copies of those that aren't tapped and attacking and don't fall under the Myriad effect. If you've got a way to attack with Ratadravik without Ratadravik getting killed, you can make more copies of Ratadravik to get more copies of Ratadravik's effect.
Does that work? Is it not a replacement effect?
Ratadravik's effect, I don't think is, no.
No, he just says whenever another legendary creature you control dies.
Yeah.
So if you have multiple copies of... it's almost impossible to make multiple copies of him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
Such a good card. And then and you pair that card up with Legion Loyalty as well, which is an 8-cost enchantment that gives all of your creatures Myriads. You are...
Yeah,
you're going to have a lot of creatures on the board. So Myriad is, I think, is really good in Ratadravik. It's just a shame that it's not very good in one-on-one games. But Commander is a 4-player game, so it's really good in there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, we tend to play one-on-one, so I don't see it very often, but yeah.
Well, we do have a homebrew rule that we do for Myriad where, you know, we do allow one token to be created because it is a one-on-one game. We don't play... There is a one-on-one Commander rule set called Dual Commander, but we don't play that because it's quite restrictive. We still prefer... We like playing normal Commander. So, but yeah, that's one of my... what I like to call guilty pleasures.
I am going to talk about 2 cards. They're both instants, but they're both absolutely bonkers. They're high up on the EDH rec list. You'll find them, and they're also, I think they're also both quite expensive. One of them is, the other one isn't. But I can't stress enough how hilarious they are in this deck.
Okay.
And the first one is Saw in Half.
Yeah, I love Saw in Half.
Saw in Half says destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power is half that creature's power, and their base toughness is half that creature's toughness, round up each time.
How much does it cost to cast?
2 and a black. And it costs £5 I think. Yeah. So, if Ratadavik's out, and you saw in half one of your legendary creatures, here is what happens. You destroy the legendary version of that creature. So, it's destroyed. You then make 2 token copy versions of that legendary creature, because that is what the card says. If the creature's destroyed, you make 2 tokens that are copies of it, so they're both legendary. At which point, the legendary rule kicks in, and one of those copies is destroyed. That's a legendary creature being destroyed. So you make a token copy of that legendary copy that was destroyed. So you have a creature, don't know what it is, doesn't really matter. You destroy it. You make 2 token copies. One gets destroyed, you make another copy. You end up with 2. 1 legendary, 1 non-legendary, 1 half its original power, 1 a 2/2 zombie. In that process, you have made 2, 3 copies of it. So if it has an enter the battlefield effect, it triggers 3 times.
Yeah.
If it has a leave the battlefield effect, you have killed the original and the token copy, so you've killed 2 to get the effect twice. Depending on the creature, that's mad.
Yeah. I mean, that obviously works best on Enter's abilities, second on Death abilities, but it's still
crazy. It's
still
crazy.
really good.
It's one of those effects where you look at this makes sense 9 times out of 10, except in this stupid deck where it just creates a disaster. Similarly, Come Back Wrong. Come Back Wrong is a sorcery for 2 and a black, which is from Dustmoor. Destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. So, version 1. I have a Rathadravic out and a black-white legendary. I destroy it. If it would be destroyed, if it would be put into a graveyard this way, it comes back onto the battlefield. But it was destroyed, so I have the token copy. Yep. Then I've got 2 versions of the creature. On the next end step, it is sacrificed, and I make another token copy version of that creature. So I end up with 2 versions of it.
Yeah.
With lots of death and with lots of enter and leave effects, all triggering at the same time. That's good. If you target someone else's commander with this spell, you destroy it. Because of the wording, if a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. That's an instantaneous effect, it's 1 sentence. Therefore, the opponent's commander cannot be returned to the command zone at any point during that process.
Yeah.
So it dies, and it goes onto your board. If it's your opponent's commander, it's legendary. At which point, you sacrifice it on end step, and you get a token copy of the other player's commander.
Yeah. And then their commander either goes to their graveyard or goes back to their command zone, depending on the type of deck they're playing.
It goes to their graveyard, then you can choose to put it back in your command zone. But yes, yeah. Basically, both of those cards together really highlight how this is a deck of complicated, hang on a minute, how does this change the rules moments that give you the world's most incredibly odd, bizarro board states, which is what I'm here for. It's what I love about this deck so much. And yeah, like, Josh, hang on. I'm going to talk about a third card as an example of why this is so awesome.
Okay.
Overseer of Vault 76 is a legendary human advisor from the Fallout set that, again, no one seems to own, but it's great. 2 and a white. Whenever Overseer of Vault 76 or another creature with power 3 or less enters the battlefield under your control, put a quest counter on Overseer of Vault 76.
All of the zombie tokens come in as 2/2s.
And she's a 3/3. So she triggers herself. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may remove 3 quest counters from among permanents you control. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and they gain vigilance until end of turn.
Does she trigger herself? Does it say when she enters?
When Overseer of Vault 76 or another creature with power 3 or less.
Wow. Yeah, that is good.
So your player, she gets a quest counter. You destroy her with either of those abilities. You make a token copy, which gets a quest counter. The second one comes in. The first one gets another quest counter. The other one dies. Next one comes in with a quest counter. You've made enough counters to activate the ability immediately with a 4.5. Yeah, wow. It's just... I mean, I love that card in Rathadravic at the best of times, because every time you sacrifice and bring it back, you're making more and more counters to make the board bigger, which you need to do, because 2 zombies are not big enough to win. But yeah. Yeah. That's a great example of how this is broken in half. I mean, fuck it, I'm going to go on to another one here because it just proves the point. Anafenza, unyielding lineage, from Dragonstorm as well, 2 and a white, legendary spirit soldier. She has flash, she has first strike. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Anafenza endures 2. Put 2 1/1 counters on it or create a 2/2 white spirit creature token. So putting counters on it is trickier because the counters won't stick around if they die. But making lots of 2/2 white spirits just stack up as you keep destroying versions of Anafenza as they come in. Yeah. Let's say none of that. Sorry, I've got some left, but you go.
That's from this point. My next card is this is going back to the whole Gandalf and Teysa sort of ability sort of thing, but this is a more rather it being it's on the board, it affects everybody. It's more it only affects a certain creature at a time, and it's from Final Fantasy, and it's the Mass Immune. It's a 3-cost legendary artifact equipment. It has an equip cost of 2. As long as equipped creature is attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked if able. So give that to a death strike creature. That's pretty good. Yeah. Equipped creature has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of this creature or an emblem you own to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That's built specifically for Sephiroth Fabled Soldier. But in Rathadravic, obviously you can give it to Rathadravic to get Rathadravic's effect to trigger again, but you can also give it to other creatures to get their effects to trigger an additional time if you want to as well. Yeah. Like that's Ellis.
Cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. Do you have to attack with it for the effect to go off?
Nope, it has that effect. It has the effect no matter what, but if it does attack, it has first strike and has to be blocked.
Interesting. Yeah. I tend to only look at legendary creatures in this deck. I'm really bad for it. I'll go like I mean, for example, a Mirkwood Bats, which is just a card that pings every time you make or destroy a token, which is insane in this deck. I haven't got one in it because it's not legendary.
Because it's not legendary, yeah.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just a fantastic card that I just thought I pulled it from a pack and I was like, yeah, I don't have Sephiroth, so I'm going to put it in here.
No one has Sephiroth, my god. Right, I have two more. How many have you got?
I have two more as well.
Perfect. I'm going to go with this one because it's dumb. Hancock, Ghoulish Mayor. Again, it's Fallout. It's a legendary zombie mutant advisor for 2 and a black. Each other creature you control, it's a zombie or mutant, gets +X, where X is the number of counters on Hancock, Ghoulish Mayor. Yeah, in and of itself, that's quite good, especially with the Overseer. You put counters on him and it pings everyone up, because they're all zombies. He has Undying. But this creature dies if it has no 1/1 counters on it. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. Now, unfortunately, token versions, if they die, won't come back to the battlefield because that doesn't work. What it means is that if you play Hancock and sacrifice him, you have 2 Hancocks immediately, and one has a counter on it, which gives everything +1/+1, all the zombies immediately. If you don't have other ways of giving other things counters, suddenly you end up with working out, well, these all have +4/+4, but this Hancock's +3/+3, this one's plus, because they don't affect themselves.
Yeah.
Each other creature, so you can build that up. Also, if you kill the Hancock with 1/1 counters on it to recast it, you still get a token, and you can still add counters to them, so they do still all add up. It's a bit more like you have to really work this one out. It took me a while to go, hang on, which version? I have to kill the original. I'm going to lose him because the Undying won't trigger because of the counters, but he's got abnormal endurance on him or whatever, so he'll come back without the counter, but then I've got another version which I can put a counter on with the Overseer. Like, it's complicated, that one, but it is fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. My next one is a Final Fantasy card. It's unique. It's another one where you have to kind of think about it when you do it. This is called the Falcon Airship Restored.
Oh.
This is a black and 2 legendary artifact vehicle. It's a 4, and it has crew 2, so you have to tap 2 power to crew it, and it's 4/3 when it is crewed. Whenever the Falcon deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. For a black and 4, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Now, when it is a creature and you deal combat damage with it because it has flying, you can sacrifice it to bring a card back from your graveyard, but because it is a creature, when it dies, you get to make a 2/2 zombie version of it that comes back. However, when that comes in, it is a vehicle still, so you still have to crew it.
No, I've had this problem before. It isn't. It's a 2/2 creature. It's a 2/2 creature. It's a creature when it dies, so when it comes in, it's a 2/2 zombie. It has a crew ability, but it's irrelevant. It's a 2/2 zombie ship.
Yeah. Which again, going off of the ring temps, if you've got a way to ring tempt it, make it legendary again, swing again, you can bring something else back from the graveyard.
That's so cool.
And the actual Falcon as well, has its own recursion effect built into it, so you can bring it back as well. So it's just, I saw it and I thought, that's fantastic. And yeah, you just got to put it in there. It's brilliant.
You could probably do quite a lot with legendary vehicles. I've never looked into it, but I know that if the legendary vehicle as a creature dies, Rastravic makes a 2/2 creature version of it because he says a 2/2 zombie creature. Like it is specific. So it's alive. The moment that you've made it alive temporarily, it's alive forever.
At the time of recording this, they're currently doing spoilers season 4, Edge of Eternities. So just to give you a little clue into whereabouts we are when we're recording this, there is a legendary vehicle in that one of the first legendary vehicles that was revealed that would be fantastic in Retrographic.
Oh my god, the Dawnstar.
Well, the Dawnstar's one, which will have that appear now because I don't have it in front of me, but this one is the Serema? How do you say that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one. So that is 2 white and 1 for a legendary artifact spacecraft. It has a station of 7+, and it becomes a 5/5 creature. When the Cereman, whatever it's called, enters, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Once you turn that into a creature, other tapped legendary creatures you control have indestructible. You bring that in, go searching for whatever legendary creature you want as a tutor effect, crew this or station this thing so it becomes a creature, then sacrifice it and you get another creature version of it, come back in, and you get to go looking for another legendary.
Station, okay, yes, station doesn't quite work in the same way that vehicles do, because it's a new thing in there. I'm starting to piece this one. So if it doesn't have the counters on it, i.e. if this became a creature version with all the counters on it, and then you sacked it, you would get a 2/2 zombie version of it, but you wouldn't be able to, if you station it, it won't become the bigger version at the bottom. It will remain the 2/2 version. Yeah. It will get the stationed ability, but it doesn't have the abilities at the bottom of the thing, like the creature abilities of it, unless it's been stationed. So you'd have to station it up to make it a 2/2 with all of those stats. But it wouldn't work in the 7. Station's a bit complicated with this, but yes.
But the main thing with that is it's a tutor.
Yeah.
Because you get that first ability when it comes in. So even if it comes in as a 2/2, you might not get the indestructible part of its effect, but you still get the go look for another legendary creature part of the effect.
The reason I said the Dawnstar is the Dawnstar is it's a big old vehicle that can be stationed. Once it's stationed to a certain point, it does 100 damage to a creature that you're the board you're attacking. It's got a massive laser. And I think if you made it into the stationed version of itself and then sacrificed it, you would get the artifact version that's a 2/2 zombie. That if you station it a few times, it still works with the counters on it. You could then have it do 100 damage to 2 creatures. It seems a little jumping through a lot of hoops for not much of an effect, but.
So how many cards have you got left?
1.
Right. Well, this is your main deck, so I'm going to go again, so you can end out the show. This one.
It's my favorite one in the deck. That's cool.
Now, this card, I've had this card for a very long time. I've had this card in a variety of different decks that I have owned, and each time I've played this card, Chris has looked at me and gone, "Does that really work in that deck? Are you sure you want it in that deck?" And I'm like, well, I mean, I've got it in the deck mainly because it's thematic for one of the decks. Mm-hmm. The other one, it's a token. The other deck is a slow token generator, so it kind of works. But I've now found the perfect deck for it. It is Rosie Cotton of South-Lane. Rosie Cotton is a good card, but with the decks that I have, she didn't really work. Of course it is. When Rosie Cotton of South-Lane enters the battlefield, create a food, which is fine. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control other than Rosie. So you're building up your board every time you sacrifice a creature and build it and bring in another token. The decks that we're playing don't really have cards in it that give Shulk too much. Shulk is or Sulk or whatever it's called, is an ability where creatures that have higher attack power than you can't block you. Mm-hmm. And we don't really have many unblockable effects in the deck. Yeah. So building up your deck with +1/+1 counters, Rosie can help do that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's particularly very good. Look.
In my deck, I will make her work, zombie or not.
I have Rosie in a deck where it cares about the number of tokens you make per turn, so I use it for that, but I've not found a use beyond that. She's too slow. Anyway, my last one, and this one is a banger because of the way that it works, and it takes a second to pass. Barakos Party Leader, 3 and a black, legendary orc, was a commander from, I think, Commander Legends Baldur's Gate? I'm not sure. I know that I think Joey Schultz has a Barakos deck, which he uses changelings and stuff like that to make it like really, really work, but people don't seem to realize how cool this is in retrographic. So Barakos Party Leader is also a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. Whenever Barakos attacks, defending player loses X life and you create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of creatures in your party. In your party was the D&D mechanic where if you had cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard in your party, you got effects based on how many people were in the party.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Barakos is a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. Retrographic is a wizard.
Yeah.
If you make token copies of Barakos, they are all clerics, rogues, warriors, wizards. In other words, it doesn't matter if there aren't any clerics, rogues, or warriors in your deck. To be fair, it's black and white. There are plenty of clerics. But because a lot of clerics are black and white for various reasons, big story reasons, it means that if you can get Barakos out, sacrifice and get another Barakos out, you're probably pinging people for 3 and making 3 treasures every turn.
That's a very good card, yeah.
The moment that is out and is going, he has to attack for the effect to work, but the token can attack if you're worried about losing the original, or if you want to attack with him and then he dies. Great, now you've got a 4-person party, and now you're getting 4 treasures that taking 4 damage every turn. It doesn't matter. It's one of the few effects where slow build-up of number of versions of that creature actually affects itself directly.
Yeah.
And in a deck which struggles with mana, getting 4 treasures every turn is amazing. Doing 4 ping damage every turn is fine, but the 4 treasures is what really sells.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's my big, like, people don't play this enough in Window Traffic. It's hot. You can also choose a background if you're playing as your commander, but you can't do that.
Yeah, the party mechanic seems quite like I think there was a pre-con. I don't know if he was commander of the pre-con, but there was
it was him, and I think he's the backup. I think it's him and Nalia.
Yeah, the party mechanic is quite a difficult one to get right, unless it's changelings, of course.
Yeah, my changing deck has some party cards in it because changelings are all creature types. So as long as you have one, there's a card in there. There's a card in my changelings deck that says as long as you have a cleric, you get this. As long as you have a warrior, so you automatically get all of them if you got one changeling, and that's hilarious. But yeah, yeah, that's my sort of big one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have no more cards, so I think that's the end of this episode. So would you like to close us out, Chris?
Sure. Thanks for watching. Do you want your friends to say, what the heck does that card do? Then buy these cards. Buy singles as well. Better.
These are singles.
Yes, but if you buy cards, don't buy packs. Buy singles.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or buy pre-cards before you know what's in them. I could talk longer about that. I'm not going to. If you like Magic, or if you've enjoyed Josh and I rambling on about Magic for a bit, we're going to do more of these, about 1 a week, hopefully. Except when new sets come out, we'll take a break at that point to look at the new cards. Then we can start advising on using new cards. That would be good. But yes, that is the plan. We will pick a commander every week and talk about cards that go in it that you might not see on deck recommendation sites like EDHREC or Scrabble. Yeah, and hopefully we will find more exciting, peculiar, and oddball cards for you to share.
And in the future as well, we'll open it up for you in the comment section to suggest legendary creatures for us to look at, make decks around if we don't already have them. You might even what I'm looking forward to with that the most is you'll come up with legendary creatures that I had never seen before. So I'll be like, this is really cool. I'm actually going to make a deck on this. So yeah, I think because I have no control when it comes to Magic cards. So.
Oh, good. What a great way to end.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.